welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer and an astrologer and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today is Saturday, so it is our weekly energy card reading. It is where I give you a choice of 3 different tarot decks. After you choose a deck, we would go ahead and do a spread clarified by oracle cards that just basically gives the energies of what the next 7 days will be. So today's spread will be for December 14th through December 21st. And before we get started, I wanted to go through some very brief announcements. If you'd like to jump straight to your reading, please feel free to do so. The timestamps for all of the readings are in the description box below. Now, I first wanted to thank everyone for their support of my channel. I started on YouTube in October of 2019, and I am so happy to say that I am now up to 12 subscribers, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I am very grateful for every single one of you. And you know, as we grow, I'm really content being a small channel. So I'm just very thankful that people like my content, and I will continue to bring more topics to you. Now, I do host readings twice a week on average. On Tuesdays, I do what I call my How to Tarot series, which is a card read as well as a description of a card in the 78 card tarot. And then on Saturdays, I do my weekly card energies, or my weekly energies read, which is the next 7 days. Just, you know, a general overview of what energies may bring. Now, it is a general reading. I believe that the symbols and cards speak to us. They're meant to be almost like the subconscious, the way that you interpret dreams. I really feel like cards speak to you that way. If you feel like a particular message does not resonate, by all means, there's a saying in tarot. We say, you know, take what resonates, leave the rest. Maybe if something is not resonating, maybe you could choose a different pile, or maybe this week just might not have any energies that really pertain. It's really up to you, but definitely if you're seeing a message that really doesn't seem like it's meant for you, by all means, take it with a grain of salt. It may not be meant for you, and that's okay. That's okay. Now, I also just wanted to thank everyone. I did want to let you know that what I do is after I've done a card reading, I wait a couple days, you know, maybe after I've done, you know, the How to Tarot, I kind of pace myself with the filming of the videos. And I do eventually circle back and watch the week video as well. And I'll usually pick a deck. And it's funny, last week, I think it was in the weekly card energies, it might have been in the dice video as well. I do specialty videos, but in one of the videos I had mentioned that I think the tile came up that said fancy, and I said, oh, okay, you know, what you can do is you can take a piece of jewelry, like if you go to work, you know, wear a pretty piece of jewelry and kind of base your outfit around it. And it's funny, I picked that pile. I resonated with that pile. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough, pardon me. And it's funny, I just wanted to share a brief story. When I was a teenager and I first had my ears pierced, I went for the biggest earrings I could find, like these really satellite dish earrings, because I wanted big earrings. And even though they were heavy for my ears, you know, having brand new pierced earrings, and I remember, and that was probably the last time I ever wore anything really big on my ears. Ever since then, I kind of go with studs and, you know, really short, you know, I have 2 piercings in my ears. But the other week I was walking around the mall, and I saw, in the display window, I saw these earrings that looked like they were rhinestone, and they were big. They were like as big as the earrings that I wore when I was a teenager, and they were almost kind of gaudy in how big they are. But I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, I like those, right? And it's rare that I find something that I'm like, ooh, I like that. And so I went ahead and bought it. I got it on a good Cyber Monday sale. I didn't spend a lot of money. And it's funny, I picked that reading that said, you know, this week, to make yourself feel pretty, to make yourself feel good, you know, put on a piece of jewelry and then base your whole outfit around it. And it's funny, I'm actually still wearing the red, if you can see that. I wore a very basic red turtleneck, and I wore the big earrings that I had bought, and oh my God, that blew my mind. I felt diva today. So it has been a long week. It's been a long work week, and I'm wearing red because I need energy. But let me tell you, I'm wearing red, and I spritzed myself with a little perfume, and I wore the earrings earlier today. So guess what? You know, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, my watchers. Coming into your reading, I smell good. We're gonna do this. So in that vein, you know, again, it's Christmas, it's the holiday season, whatever season you celebrate, or if you do not celebrate at all, it's a busy time of year, and it's been kind of that kind of week. It's been a little bit exhausting, but I did want to get our reading in today, and one thing is every time I sit down to pick tarot decks for your weekly energies, I kind of get drawn to a theme. Today, I'll be honest, I do not have a real theme to the decks. The only theme, I'll say this, the only theme is these are decks that I've been dying to use that have been kind of out of rotation. Like I haven't used them. I've used them on the channel, but you probably haven't seen them in a while. And I just kind of said, okay, we've got weekly energies. Let me go ahead and just use the decks I haven't used in a while because I missed them. They're fabulous decks. And so the 3 decks that we have today is, we have deck number 1, which is the Inked in Intuition Tarot. Ooh, we got the devil right on top. Whew. All right. Oh, go with the star. There we go. Okay, we'll go with the star. This is a tattoo deck. And again, I always joke, I would have the High Priestess from this deck tattooed on my body if my mother wouldn't kill me. And then paired with it, we have a volcano, rose quartz, and honestly, all of this winter lighting does not do it justice. It's a really beautiful stone. So that's deck number 1. Deck number 2, we have the Anna K Tarot, and again, this is another one we have not used in a while. Got the 7 of Cups. All right, I'm going to go with the card that we pull, but we'll go ahead and it's Strength on top. But and then it has a beautiful smoky quartz. And I love this stone. And these are actually all stones that I keep with decks. Like I just keep them, they're the cleansing stones that I use. I'm not real superstitious about the cleansing of decks. I don't think decks carry any negative energy. It's not because of that. I just think that they coordinate well, and I'm Libra, and I like things that coordinate. And I like big flashy earrings. Yeah. All right, and then, oh gosh. Pulling the 7 of Swords, I'm sorry. But the last deck is the Linestrider Tarot, which is a really beautiful watercolor kind of deck. One thing I am going to pull out, let me go to the side here, is that with the Linestrider, there are a few images that have what I call tingly bits, naked bits, where there's just a little bit of nudity. So I'm going to pull out a few emojis just on the fly. If we do happen to pull a card, there's not many of them, but if I do happen to pull a card that has naked bits, I might have to emoji you just because it's a PG channel, and you know, I don't want to offend any of my watchers. And then the stone that I pair with it always is this beautiful, it's a tiger's eye it's a tiger's eye, and it's in the shape of a bear. And I love this. It's funny, when you turn it in the light, it's a light bear, and then it's a dark bear, and it's a light bear. I'm sorry, I'm easily amused. And again, it's the stone that I pair with this deck because there's several cards in here, like for instance, the Hermit. The Hermit is a bear. And so I pair the bear tiger's eye with it, but that is deck number 3. Now, to clarify, I am going to be using the, this is like a story type of deck that's made by Liz Dean, who's one of my favorite tarot deck authors and authors in general. I will put all the names of the decks in the description box below. I should have a turquoise. See, the thing is, I don't have a turquoise stone, so I'm using just kind of a yellow stone to go with that, which isn't bad, but I have too many stones. I don't need a turquoise. Turquoise would be pretty though. The other clarifying deck is the Intuit Oracle by Kimberley Fisher, and oh my god, I'm in love with this deck. I use this deck on the fly, like every day for myself, but we're going to use that to clarify. It's kind of a little bit of a Lenormand base. There's Lenormand, and then she mixes in all these other, sorry, my microphone, because I have a turtleneck on because I have a turtleneck on today, I can't pin the microphone directly on myself, so if you flip, I know it makes a booming sound. I'll do my best to not boom in your ear. All right, guys, so enough gum flapping. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'll freeze frame. You choose a deck, and we'll go ahead and read the energies for your week. I do ask that if you could please choose from your intuition, whatever is drawn, calling to you. Go with that deck, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. All right, so ink and intuition. And we're going to try to keep this concise. I know I always promise that, and I never deliver, and I'm sorry. But if we do weekly, I try my best to give you your due there. Okay, then King of Wands is trying to flip out, but we'll see if he's meant to show, he will. So, oh, thank you. Oh, dang. Okay. Okay, deck one. Sorry, 1 minute. I'm going to try to do something with this. Okay, let's see about that. All right, so deck number one. What is your week? Oh, crappy yoga. Oh, wow, okay, we're going to go with it. It's really speaking to us. Now, one thing with the Inked in Intuition, it is what we call a pip deck, which is where the minor arcana is really, the minor arcana doesn't give as descriptive an image as the majors. The majors are pretty, descriptive. But okay, we're going to go with all three. Again, these are kind of Lenormand. The Storytime cards are very Lenormand-esque. Wow. Oh, you got a bear. You got a bear, and we have a bear for the third deck. Oh, gosh. All right, so... All right, so pile number one. Wow, gosh, you guys kind of have a transformative week. Can you see? First off, in the beginning of the week, you've got... I can read this one of two ways. The lovers did kind of come out underneath. So the way I'm kind of reading it is, first off, you got the Queen of Swords. Now, I really get the feeling, I'm getting the feeling like you're the King of Pentacles. And again, you can be a man or a woman watching this deck, but watching this video. Sorry. In the beginning of the week, you got the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords is actually kind of badass in this, if I can say that on YouTube. She's kind of badass in this deck. Honestly, I could have this tattooed on my body because I am an air sign, and it's kind of a Libra thing, and she's looking kind of all Red Sonja. That's sabbatical. Anyway, okay, sorry, back to topic. It's been a long week, guys, sorry. I think what's happening is in the beginning of the week, you are going to be, you're either going to be in this energy or you're going to be dealing with somebody in this energy. And honestly, if I got to be real, I get the feeling like you're dealing with a Queen of Swords. I have a feeling, and again, I love the fact that she's got a snake tattooed up her arm. God, you do not mess with this woman. Well, you know what it is that, again, just like all queens are nurturing. They are nurturing. I know people roll their eyes. They're like, what the hell? She's wielding a sword, right? But when you look at it, it's not like she's pointing the sword at you, right? She's kind of holding it. She's holding her arms over her head, which is a little bit of a passive move when you think about it. I mean, that's not the most defensive stance that you can take if you're trying to protect yourself. But she's putting the sword by her head and over her shoulder, right? It's almost like she's guarding her back, right? So I have a feeling, and again, I think you're dealing with a Queen of Swords. And again, I think this is someone that you're dealing with that is very intellectual. She's very shrewd. She's a smart cookie, this person that you're dealing with at the beginning of the week. And either that or it could be you. I think at the beginning of the week, it could be you. I think you have your boundaries up, and I think you have your boundaries up for some good reason. I think you've been through some mess, and I think you didn't deserve it, and I think at the beginning of the week, you are standing your ground. And again, the Queen of Swords is not a bad character. The Queen of Swords is a very smart woman. She's actually very verbally nurturing. She gives people praise. She's the person who really, like, if you're having a rough day, she's usually the person who sends you like the little emojis, or she sends you the text messages that kind of really lift your spirits, that keep you mentally going. I think she's also she's intellectual in that way. You know how life sometimes gets really dull? You know, it becomes the dirge. You always do your laundry on the same day. You always put out the recycling on the same day. The Queen of Swords is the type of person who keeps life interesting. She'll tell you, she'll ask you questions. She kind of knows all those little psychological little nuances about people she's also a really good person for morale, verbal morale. Like, for instance, like she's the person at work who always asks everyone about, she's very thoughtful. She's thoughtful. She knows little things about her coworkers. She knows little things about her family. She knows those little nuances about things that because she bothered to ask people. And what it is the fact that she's upright. I just get this feeling in the beginning of the week, if this is your energy, you're a little bit on guard, but not in a malicious way. You're watching. Look at that stare on her eyes. It's like, I got my eye on you. I see you. I see you. Right? And she has her sword right there. So if you're, and again, these energies are interchangeable. You can be a man watching this video and be in the energy of the Queen, and vice versa. But what I'm kind of feeling here is that you're either dealing with the Queen of Swords or you are in the Queen of Swords energy in the beginning of the week. You got your boundaries up, but you've got them up for good reason. But you are also being very nurturing in a shrewd way. You like, when you give to people with no strings, but if someone comes up to you, the skinny, right? I also feel like the Queen of Swords is the queen who knows. Like, look at that on her face. She's that kind of, have you ever walked up to somebody that just, you can come up and do the smiles and the, hey, how are you? And she can just, almost like she's x-ray scanning your whole body. She knows what you're up to, right? She knows your motives. She knows what's up. That's it. You know what everybody's motives is, and they don't even have to say a word. You can just kind of like, mentally do the x-ray scan and be like, yeah, I got you. Okay, I see what you about, right? And underneath it, you got the Lovers. So I think at the beginning of the week, and again, these two being right underneath one another, I think that I'm not getting a third party vibe. I'm getting a vibe like you might be a little bit on guard when it comes to a love relationship. You know what's going on. You know the deal, right? And I think in the beginning of the week, you're going to have some boundaries up, but you're going to have boundaries up for good reason. And you're just going to be you're going to be watching. You're going to be watching, and you see and you know what the deal is. Now, by the middle of the week, we got some stuff going on. Now, again, you can be, the energies are interchangeable, however it resonates. If you're resonating with the feminine or if you're resonating with the masculine. I think by the middle of the week, now first off, we just talked about the Wheel of Fortune in How to Tarot this week on Tuesday. So please feel free to check it out. It was an awesome read. But the Wheel of Fortune is the turn of fate. It's the universe. It's divine timing, right? It's things coming into play the way that they're supposed to come into play. And just underneath the Wheel of Fortune, you got the King of Coins, which is the King of Pentacles, and you got the Four of Coins.
And now the Four of Coins is a holding on to your money or holding on to a situation card. So what I see here, in the fact that I got a Queen of Pentacles and I got, you got a Queen of Swords and you got a King of Pentacles. And look at these two people. Now, all of these cards have really intense stares. But, you know, it's funny. Her stare is different than his, right? He's looking forward and he's like, I have a feeling that you have you might be involved in some kind of love relationship, and in a minute we'll see why that is a little bit of a standoff. You're in a standoff with somebody, and it's definitely a love relationship. It's someone that you've been intimate with, and it doesn't have to be sexually intimate, but you shared feelings with this person. You might have cuddled with this person. You are connected to this person, but you had to back away, and you had to put reason over heart, and for a good reason. You might have been messed around. You might either that, or you might have just been subjected to the beginnings of some really crappy behavior, and you just cut it off. You said, no, I'm going to protect myself. This sword, and you can see she's not stabbing anybody with the sword. She has this sword up to herself, like, okay, come through this, right? Do not come at me. I'm guarded. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is a turn of fate in your favor. The Wheel of Fortune, and again, if you get a chance to watch the How to Tarot, it explains it all. The Wheel of Fortune is a major arcana, and it's a powerful card. By the middle of the week, the universe is doing something to turn this situation in your favor, because you had the Lovers, and you had the Lovers upright. This is a genuine connection. This is, now your different elements, you are of thought, and the masculine that I'm seeing here is of material. But what I see is, what I see as the block between you, because the other thing is you see a snake tattooed on her body, and then you see a snake slithering around the Four of Pentacles. What's happening is, by the middle of the week, you are in a standoff, you are in a stalemate with somebody who is valuing financial or physical security over your relationship. And it doesn't make it bad, but the fact that your thoughts, the fact that you're the Queen of Swords, tells me that you value thought, you value intellect, you value wisdom. And this male that is underneath the Wheel of Fortune, he values either that, or he is a stable person. And these are both, this is a king and a queen. This could be a very stable person. This could be, I mean, this might not be someone who's materialistic, but this is just someone who is very, very established in the world. He has a good job, he has a good home, either that, or this person has built this security for himself. Now, the thing that I'm seeing here is that the Four of Pentacles is a holding on. It's like a not wanting to let go. It's almost like being afraid of losing your security. And the fact that you have the Wheel of Fortune here right above this king, and you kind of have the Lovers in between, kind of catty-cornered to you, I really have a feeling that there's some kind of connection that you have to this King of Pentacles. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be an earth sign, but this has to be someone who values stability, or it's a male who has stability and he's of your level. Maybe not your same age. It doesn't have to exactly be an age thing, but it's a counterpart. It's like a male and feminine, right? So by the middle of the week, I feel like the stalemate is still going on, but the universe is, the thing is, the root of the situation is someone holding on to their money, someone holding on. I think he's holding on to this relationship, and I think you're holding on to your relationship, but what's standing between you is that you are mentally guarded. You're saying, I am not going to be treated poorly. You are going to come at me the right way. You're going to treat me that way, or you're not going to bother. This man is saying, look, I'm holding the pentacle. You know, financial security is important, This is more important than anything else. So I think the source of your stalemate is this holding on. You guys are both holding on to the love, because you see the lovers here. You're holding on to the love, but you're also, he's holding on to his material possessions because this is under him, and you're holding on to your boundaries. So this is causing it where you can't come together. Either that, or she could be holding on to this. I really do feel like both of you are holding on to this love. But the universe has some kind of divine timing going on. I really get the feeling like the universe is saying, okay, this man building his stability is a good thing. You learning boundaries is a good thing. And I do think that you two are meant to be together. And again, we'll get on to it. But basically where you're at right now, or where you're going to be by the middle of the week, is that you're still going to be at a standoff, but it's for good reasons. I really feel like, and again, the wheel can be a lot of karma. I feel like it's almost like you're in each other's lives to teach you that lesson. She's here to teach him that you don't treat people, you don't treat people as disposable just because you want to be stable in the physical world. And then he's learning that, there's a lot more than money. And, if you give up on love, you might not get a second chance. So, and I know that's very heavy energy for a weekly reading, but basically we've got a masculine and a feminine who are definitely love counterparts. We've got a celestial timing coming in, and we have someone holding on, someone digging in and not letting go. And it really looks like it's the masculine who's not letting go. He doesn't want to let go of his security. Now, the beautiful thing, and as we get to the end, we've got some more pentacles. But by the end of the week, look at this. You got the 6 of coins. And the 6 of coins is the balancing. It's the equal give and take. And what I love about this depiction, and I'm so glad I pulled this deck, look at this. You see a letter handed, and you don't know who's handing it and who's receiving it. It kind of looks like the person on the left is giving it to the person on the right, but you have 3 pentacles at top, you have 3 pentacles on bottom, 2 stars, 2 stars. It's completely equal. These two, and then star and star, these two people are communicating, and it's in a fair and level way. Hallelujah. It looks like these two people are actually, by the end of the week, are going to have some kind of balanced communication, and nothing makes the Queen of Swords happier, because swords is thought, swords are words, swords are communication. Woo, yay! And then you got pentacles, you got equal pentacles all around. It's almost like a compromise, guys. It's a compromise. Loving that letter. Sorry, getting excited. Loving that letter, because it's a long time. It seems like it's a long time coming. Now, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, your oracle, your story oracle, is you got the path, decisions, and way ahead. Now what you see is you see 2 rabbits, and it kind of looks like a foggy path, right? Now, what's happening is there's going to be some decisions made, and I feel like this week is really a culmination of something that's been going on for a long time. I feel like this has been happening. I mean, this is just your weekly energies, but this communication is an apex of something. And it's really going to be a decision for one or both of you, because there's 2 rabbits here. And the funny thing is, these 2 rabbits look like they're of the same breed, but they're a distance from each other. I think there's a real decision that needs to be made, and this communication that comes at the end of the week is really going to be based on that. I think someone's making a choice. And it's kind of tough to say who it is, to be completely honest, I don't know who it is that's going to be initiating, because it's really equal. You both have major arcana. Now, the only indicator that I have is that this guy is kind of dug in his laurels. This guy is digging, he's bunkering down with the 4 of Pentacles. That doesn't seem real loose. And the fact that she's swords, it really makes me feel like maybe the woman would probably give the fig leaf. I'm not entirely certain. Well, I won't say who's deserving or not, but I'm just saying that, King of Pentacles energy in general tends to be pretty stubborn. All earth signs, even Virgos, who are the mutable, the communicative sign, they can be pretty damn picky, and even if you piss one off, they're not going to really want to communicate with you. But the swords suit, they tend to communicate for the sake of just opening the lines of communication. But the other thing was we got garden, celebrations, and new friendships. Now, I'm definitely not getting a new energy from this. This feels like this has been going on a while, because these two people know each other, right? And but the fact that it says new friendships, I really do think, and sometimes a rekindling or a revisiting of something can occur. Either that or you're transitioning. The other thing about the wheel is that can be transitioning. This person can be reluctant. This masculine can be reluctant to transition. There might be something, I'm not seeing a lot of fear cards, but she's a little fearsome in the way that she is. He might just be, the other thing is the King of Pentacles is a very practical person. He doesn't do things on a whim. He has to make a very stable decision, and he might just be, holding on. He might be holding on to a lot of things. Here it really looks fiscal. It looks like it's with his money. But the garden, now the other thing about the garden is in Lenormand, gardens really mean group settings. It means kind of being out in public. It doesn't necessarily, because it could just be a celebration. Again, this communication, it might be in a public arena. Here I'm only seeing two hands, but again, this communication might take place in some place in a group setting. And then the third card you got was the Stork, time to travel and make changes. Now, the Stork always kind of gets perceived as a little bit of a, expecting card, but it doesn't have to mean that. Normally, it just means movement, because storks migrate, they fly, any bird flies. But here, also when you see new beginnings, sometimes, the birth of something or a child doesn't necessarily have to be a physical child. Sometimes it can be a new job, it can be a new career path, it can be, a new idea. It can also be a new relationship, or it can be the transformation of your existing relationship. But I'm not seeing too many death cards, but there's no scary cards in tarot. Death just means transformation. But I definitely have a feeling like a choice is going to be made. A choice, and also the Lovers rules choices too. So when you think about it, two rabbits, right? So a choice is made, and then a celebration, and again, you usually celebrate with friends and family, and then time to make changes. That usually means forward movement, and here by the end of the week it looks very equal. Now your other cards is, what makes me really think that this is a stalemate between these two people is you got stalemate, standoff, no way out, non-committal, holdout, delay tactics, blocked. And gosh, nothing says delay tactics and blocked than someone who's just kind of holding on, right? This is what makes me think, God, this is, and the Queen of Swords doesn't give up. And honestly, when you look at this, look at these three cards. Tell me that does not, even the points of their crowns look like these two, and they look like chess pieces, right? And honestly, the air suit usually is mind games, not in a bad way, but if the queen was in reverse, she might be playing some games. But I think at this point it is a little bit of strategy, just because, he's waiting for her to break. She's waiting for him to break. And does it look like either of these are budging? Yeah. God. Good luck with that, right? But the beginning of the week, you're holding your mental ground. By the middle of the week, someone is holding their physical ground. And by the end of the week, thank God we're getting that letter, because, the letter can also be the Stork, true. It can also be that break because, birds can mean communication. Now, the only other thing we got was bear. And what's interesting is we got boss, CEO. It also means finances. and affluence, you know. It can be someone who's kind of throwing their weight around, which might be this guy, but I kind of get like this is a third influence. I really get this feeling like this is part of the stand. You know what it makes me think? It makes me think that this is the source of the block. It makes me feel like this is the source. Like something in a, like there's something in a work, there's something in the work environment that's kind of influencing this. This stalemate is not necessarily because the two people do not want to communicate. It feels like it's more like because the person doesn't want to give up any stability in his work life. He kind of wants to be. Now, this could be a mother figure that's influencing one of these characters. I really kind of, again, it being the person who's digging in is the King of Pentacles, King of Coins. But I'm, you know, the bear is a little bit of a mystery. It can mean someone who's a boss. But I just really get the feeling, I feel like what it is that both of them are kind of throwing their weight around. I think both of them are just digging in and being stubborn. But by the end of the week, by the middle of the week, you're going to see the universe kind of intervening and turning the wheel. And by the end of the week, just promise, I'm excited to tell you that by the end of the week, there's going to be some kind of compromise. There's going to be some kind of compromise, and it might be in some kind of public. Again, we're close to the holidays, so it might be at some kind of party. But just know that there might be some kind of boss that's around at the time. So I'm not getting a real cautious vibe, but you know, I'm really glad to see that at the end of the week, because that's some good news. Sorry that went kind of long, guys, but that was interesting. But yeah, so deck number 1, that's your week. So deck number 2, let's go ahead and get into your energies. It's the Anna K. Ooh, thank you. Oh gosh. What is the week for deck number 1? Deck number 2. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh gosh, guys. Oh my goodness. All right, this one is kind of sticking out. And then oh gosh, guys. All right. It does get better. It's not so bad. So, deck number 2. Please give us some advice for deck number 2. Oh, thank you. All right. And some advice for deck. Thank you. All right, guys. So by the beginning of the week, you got the 7 of Swords, and what this is this is a feeling of wanting to get away. And again, this always kind of makes everybody cringe. It's not the greatest energy card, but it has numerous meanings. There's no bad cards in tarot, but what it kind of means is that you can see that he's kind of, you know, slinking out the window, and he's got a bag of gold with him, right? It's, you know, it's not real clear whether or not he's stealing this gold from someone else. He could be. You know, that, or, you know, who knows? You never know what the story is. Anytime you look at an image, you can kind of create your own story. But by the beginning of the week, your overall energy is you're kind of clandestinely wanting to get away. In the light of day, you can't publicly, you know, sneak out the window, right? So what you're doing is, in the dead of night, you're saying, okay, you know, you might be kind of secretly withholding your feelings. You might not be telling people publicly what you want to do, but you don't really want to stay where you're at. So there's either something going on. It could be a relationship, or it can be a situation at work. It can be a situation with family. But there's some kind of situation that you just kind of want to sneak away from. You want to walk away, right? And it's almost like you're in a position that you can't do it real publicly. It's almost like your internal feeling says you don't need to do this. You need to walk away. But it's almost like your outside persona is saying, "Oh yeah, this is great. But inside you just want to run, right? You just want to take your stuff and run. Now, sometimes that can be a situation where you've gotten into obligations that are just really not your cup of tea, and you don't want to do them anymore, but you kind of don't know a nice way to be like, look, I don't want to do this anymore, so you kind of feel like you're sneaking away. The other thing could be flat out that you just really do need to sneak around. Like maybe at the beginning of the week there is something going on that you just don't want to face, that you don't want to publicly come out and disagree with. It could be pressures at work. It could be any situation where you're expected to go along with the status quo, but that's not you, and you really want to in a silent way leave and take your stuff with you, take your thoughts, take your money, and go. Now, by the middle of the week, you got the Eight of Cups. And of course, this depiction of the card is really sad. You see a woman who looks kind of dejected. You see cups that are lining the path. And you see what looks like two people. So it almost looks like a betrayal, right? And not to say this is what's happening, but what it means is you're kind of, by the middle of the week, and underneath it, and the High Priestess really wanted to come out with these two cards. So just know, we read them together. There's no bad cards. Underneath the Eight of Cups, you got the Seven of Rods. And the Seven of Rods is defense. You see, right? You see someone holding their ground, right? You see someone fighting to keep their ground, right? They're fighting the good fight. And then underneath it, you have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is one of my favorite cards. And just for the record, we just went through a full moon on the 12th. It was the 12/12 full moon, and it was at 12/12 midnight. It was so awesome. It was beautiful Gemini moon. Now, what this tells me is that at the beginning of the week, you're definitely, again, you're going to be kind of wanting to kind of skulk away from a situation. It doesn't make you bad. It just means that you're not being forthright about it. There are some in most situations, you want to do the right thing and come out and say, I disagree with this. I'm walking away. But here at the beginning of the week, there's some kind of energy of hiding, of skulking. It's almost like you have to sneak away, or for whatever reason, you're not able to come out and say, I don't want to do this anymore. But by the middle of the week, the Eight of Cups is the flat out walking, right? The Seven of Swords is the skulking away. The Eight of Cups is the standing up on the soapbox going, this is some crap. I want no part of this. I'm walking. Watch me walk. And so by the middle of the week, you have that energy. So you've went from it being quiet to you publicly. And honestly, this is a 7 going into an 8. And the 7 is the verbal, mental sneaking away. The 8 is of Cups, which is the emotional, I'm walking away from this. And now it could, and again, given the imagery of this card, it could be because you saw something, and again, we're going to read into this. Don't be fearful. Please don't be fearful. Actually, the High Priestess coming out is very is making me feel better about this lineup. But I have a feeling that by the middle of the week, you're going to see something that looks like a betrayal. And the reason that I think it looks like a betrayal is because it's underneath it, you've got that defense card. This is almost like, you saw something and you immediately jump to the defense. I'm walking away because I saw this and I think it means this, and screw you, and you don't treat me like this, and you hold your ground. Now, what's beautiful about the High Priestess is the High Priestess tells us is the card of non-action. She's the one that says, don't pick up your stick and hit anybody over the head just yet. And what it is that the High Priestess is the guardian between the physical world and the unconscious world. What she's telling you is, she's telling you that there's something going on. There's something in this situation that you don't know. There's something that's hidden. And so it might look bad to you. It might look like, oh God, that happened, but please just wait. If you need to walk away from the situation, like if you see something that upsets you by the end of the week, by all means, get to a safe place and do what you need to do to feel better. Do what you need to do to safeguard your emotions if anything happens. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to you this week, but if you feel the need, if you're feeling like you kind of just, the other thing is, if you're just, by the beginning of the week, if you feel like, I really need to get away, because these are also getaway cards. I have a feeling this whole week, the first half of this week is, I need to get away from this. And you know what? If you need to get away from anything, do it. Make no excuses. Don't give any. Just lock up your desk and, go to where you feel safe. So whether that be mentally, and this also could be somebody who's taking kind of a dig at you. If you feel like someone's, kind of getting their digs in and running away, that's the other thing, is that this could be someone who's mentally, kind of digging into you, and then you feel the need because you see him going this way and then you see her going that way. And this image is in between. So it could be relationship-wise, or again, this can pertain to work or anything else. All it means is that the Eight of Cups is affecting you in an emotional way. But and what it's doing is it's making you say, I don't need this crap, I'm walking away, and then you hold your ground. I actually really love that 7. The other thing is 7s are equal, right? It's almost like one of these guys is the guy sneaking out of the window with the swords, and the other guy confronts him like, what the hell are you doing, So what you've done is you've seen something, or you've experienced something that's going to make you kind of want to walk the other direction. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It is going to pull at an emotional heartstring, but please don't be afraid. You're going to take the right response. You're going to take the WTF response, like, I don't need this, and you're going to hold your ground, and you're going to remove yourself from whatever it is that's triggering you. Now, the beautiful thing, and the thing I want you to remember, is by the middle of the week, you see how these moons have cycles? You see how moons mean cycles? There is something going on here. Just like the moon has a pattern, the moon has a cycle, the universe has a reason. This happened for a reason, so please don't despair. Please do not feel bad. If anything makes you, kind of triggers you by the middle of the week, do not be afraid. Because the High Priestess says, just lean back a minute. Lean back, because there's method to this madness. What you saw, or what you thought you saw, might not be what you think it is. Might not be what. I always think of that line from the Princess Bride, where he's like, what you think him is not what you think him is. What if he's not? So I don't think that you have all the facts from something that you saw. It's completely okay for you to have this reaction. If you see something that triggers you, by all means, stand your ground or remove yourself from the situation. But just kind of hold it down and do what's right for you. Do what's right for you. If there's anything that you see that upsets you, just say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to just check out a minute and take care of me. And because there's something here that's hidden. By the middle of the week, there's something here that's not revealed to you, but it will be. It will be. And just know that the universe has a reason for it. These events are happening for a reason. So just hold your ground, remove yourself if you need to, look after you. You do you. Don't care about these other people. Screw them. Do you, and just know that there's a method to this madness. There's something going on behind the scenes that this is going to work out in your favor. Now, by the end of the week, you got the 7 of Pentacles, and good Lord, guys, you got 777. Wow, that's powerful. That's a synchronicity there. And so, what we got is The Seven of Pentacles is evaluating your progress. What you're going to do is you're going to kind of be looking at the situation. So by the end of the week, you're going to be kind of looking at the situation and being like, God, is this worth it? Right? Whatever's going on. And again, this could be a work situation. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship upset. It can be work, it could be family. But basically, someone's going to do something that seems a little clandestine and kind of shady. You're gonna be repulsed by it, or you're gonna be like, no, I'm not having this. And you're just gonna kind of walk the other direction. And you're gonna hold your boundaries. You're gonna say that ain't cool. But before you judge the situation or anyone too harshly, just kind of lean back. Just know that there's something in the situation. You don't have all the facts yet. And by the end of the week, what I love about the Seven of Pentacles is you can see this person has planted pentacles, and you see he's kind of evaluating. He's kind of going like, okay, is this giving me what I need, right? Is this situation giving me my due? And then, underneath it, you got the Five of Pentacles, which is, and to be honest, this is the kind of feeling a little bit, it's feeling a little bereft. It's stereotypically the left out in the cold card. But what's happening is, whatever happens in the middle of the week, you're really going to be thinking about. You're going to be like, gosh, why is this happening? But by the end of the week, you're going to go into a good place. You're going to think about what, financially where you are. It's going to make you feel a little bit isolated. It is going to make you feel a little bit like you're out in the cold. Like it might kind of make you feel like a little bit lonely. Now, I'm seeing a lot of gold in these. Well, in the beginning of the week, I'm seeing the gold here, even though it's a thoughts card. We kind of have all the elements, but definitely by the end of the week, you're just going to kind of feel a little bit more financially. And again, the fact that this is going to be the weekend before Christmas, this could also just be, this could just be a little bit of holiday drama. Again, sometimes, it's been a real emotional time. We had a very strong full moon last week. It's going to be, we're coming up on the holidays, the buying of gifts and things like that gets really stressful. Sometimes people start to get on each other's nerves around this time of year. As happy as it is, sometimes there are family stressors and financial stressors. And I think by the end of the week, these are mostly financial cards. I think you are going to be feeling a little bit spendthrift, like the money, every dime went to presents or something like that. But definitely you're going to be reviewing. The other thing is, it is the end of the year, and we're coming up on kind of the last paychecks before the new year. I think you're really going to be evaluating, okay, what are these situations bringing me? Is this really worth it, right? I've gone ahead, I've walked away, I've stood my ground, I've fought the good fight, right? You've ever had those situations where you're like, oh God, that person ticked me off. Is this the fight that I want to fight? Is pretty much what I'm thinking, right? Is this the fight that I want to fight? And the High Priestess is almost asking you, the fact that you look at this, these two people are contemplating, right? And this is major arcana and this is minor arcana. So I think what you're going to be is, by the end of the week, it's just kind of telling you to lean back. You are going to feel kind of alone. You are going to feel like nobody cares, or like people but definitely by the end of the week, please be kind to yourself, and please just take this contemplation time, take it as a time to really evaluate. Again, whatever the situation is, say, okay, what is this situation bringing me? Is this bringing me happiness? Do I deserve this? Is this what I've worked so hard for, right? Is to get this result? It's kind of be what it's going to ask you to do. Now, if any of this is related to any drama or, anything financial, the other thing it's kind of telling you is, try not to be too disturbed. Try not to feel like you're out in the cold. I know that's really hard to do. But the other thing is, get a budget. That's also what it's kind of telling me too, is that anytime you feel like you're in dire straits financially, the best thing that you can do is get a plan. get a plan. With the new year, new decade, be like, look, okay, what are my goals? What are my goals? What do I expect these pentacles to grow into, right? How big a tree do I want those seeds to become? And really kind of, decide, okay, every pay period I'm going to do this. Or, but here I am definitely feeling as if, this might have a little bit of a relationship element to it. I am definitely getting that feel with the moon and the wands and the cups and the swords. There's been words exchanged, there's been hurt feelings, and then there's been defensiveness. And so whether this be with a family member, a loved one, just kind of evaluate that relationship. The other thing that I love about the Seven of Pentacles is it gets you to ask the question, okay, what kind of relationships do I want? What are my expectations? What do I give to a relationship and what do I expect out of it? And if someone's not giving you your due, or you feel like things are just, I love that there's this saying in relationships that says it shouldn't be, 10% happiness and 90% misery. That's not the equation, right? Really, healthy relationships usually are about 80 or 70% easygoing and 20 to 30% challenge, right? But there should not be more challenge than there is joy. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. And definitely you should not be putting up with anybody who's giving you that much trouble. But by the end of the week, you are going to probably feel a little bit left out in the cold. But try to use that energy productively. Maybe use that as kind of a fuel to evaluate and kind of take stock or inventory. And if you really do feel like it's upsetting you, try to get a plan. Either that or maybe write down. I always like to do this. Write down 5 things that you expect in that situation, whether it be a relationship, from a job. Like if it's a job, say, what's important to me in a job: a short commute to work, friendly coworkers or supportive coworkers, a good living wage. If you write all those down. Same thing with a relationship. Be like, look, what are the things that I value most in a partner? Communication, fairness, reliability, honesty. Just write down your top 5 and then just say, okay, what steps can I get? Because by the end of the week, you are going to be reflecting. The middle of the week is going to be a little bit of there might be some events happening in the middle of the week. Nothing scary, but just also know, again, the High Priestess tells me that there's more to the situation than what you're seeing. So don't take anything at face value. Just lean back. If you see anything that seems upsetting, just lean back and take care of you. And then by the end of the week, really, really dig into that evaluation side. Now, the 2 analytical cards, and I thought this was great, is you got dog, and I love dog. Dog's the greatest. Here it's saying a dog is a loyal and faithful companion. So what I'm seeing here is that if you do have some drama going on, whether it be with family, with spouse, with ex-boyfriend, or whatever it may be, lean on a friend. It's definitely saying that you have a friend there. You have someone who's close to you, who's very loyal and reliable. So if you're going through the motions, especially by the beginning, middle, and end of the week, go ahead and call a friend, or call your mom, call your best friend, and lean on them, and that they'll be there for you. Now, the other card you got is one that I'm seeing a lot lately too, is the mouse, which is what's eating away at you. And that is the mouse is about stress. And oh God, I'm seeing a lot of stress. I mean, the Nine of Swords didn't come up, and darn if it didn't. What I'm seeing is a lot of you know, a little bit of drama. I'm definitely seeing, you know, some energies of, and again, all of the elements are here. We've got words exchanged, we've got hurt feelings, we've got, you know, egos and boundaries and physical action. And then by the end of the week, we've got like financial woes and you know, reevaluation of, you know, what you want out of life. In the physical life, what do you want? So here I think this is really, and again, I feel like the key card in all of this is the Seven of Pentacles. I think it's really asking you, okay, what is bothering you, you know? And again, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? Do you want somebody who, you know, who is skulking around and not being honest with you? Do you want family members who are stirring up drama? Or, you know, again, not to say that that's what's going on, but the mouse is, what I like about the mouse is it says, okay, there is something in your heart of hearts that's bothering you, and let's root it out. That's kind of what it is. Let's root it out. And the High Priestess is very good for that too, because she's all knowing. She's the person who pulls into her instincts and analyzes what's going on here. You know, what's going on? What is it that's hidden underneath the surface? Now, your Lenormand cards, and again, this is interesting. You got tornado. Oh gosh. Tornado, storm brewing, torn up, sudden unexpected end, breakdown, over and done. Now, I don't want you to be worried about this card because we read them all together, right? And to be honest, and here I'll get into that in a minute, but the tornado can be, it does kind of remind me of the Tower in tarot, but that's not a bad thing. Tornado can be a sudden something that's brewing, and again, this could be something that's been going on for a while. This might not be something new. This might be a situation that you've seen coming, but it's definitely going to rip up some faulty foundations. If there was something built on a false foundation, this is going to come along and this is going to rip it up. Now, what I want you to take solace in is that right behind it you got stars. And oh my God, the greatest thing about tarot is that the Tower is followed by the star. And stars are wishes, they're peace, they're you know, they're blessed inspiration. So here I really get the feeling that whatever this is kind of a blessing in disguise. I think it's kind of the universe's way of getting, and again with the moon cycles, I think it's its way of kind of getting you to dig deep and to think about what it is that you want. You know, what do you want? What is it that your goals are? What's eating away at you, right? And then we got mutable signs, which is the end of the season, perfect touch, see both sides. So I kind of read this card a few different ways. Now, first off, this kind of looks like a transition, right? It looks like a storm blew through, and then after the storm, there was peace. There was kind of a new beginning, a kind of a reset, right? And what I'm kind of seeing is now mutable signs. When it says end of the season, we are in Sagittarius season. So by the time I think it's December 23rd, it goes over. It leaves the mutable sign of Sagittarius and goes into Capricorn. So, and you know what? Honestly, this reading goes from the 14th to the 21st. So I have a feeling that it's telling you that all of this energy is the tornado, right? All of this is the tornado. But when you get to the end, after the tornado comes the star, comes the peace, comes the, you know, the beginning that you've been waiting for. So take heart. None of this is happening for a bad reason. The other thing is the fact that it says see both sides. I have a feeling that, again, with the High Priestess and the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Rods, I think it's telling you that, again, there's something in the situation that you might not have all the facts. And I think it might be asking you to kind of see this situation from the other person's perspective. Because there's a lot of contemplation here. Again, this person is contemplating, the High Priestess is contemplating, and then you got the mouse that says, okay, what's eating away at you, all right? So you've got a lot of cards that says, okay, you know, by the time before Sagittarius moves into Capricorn on the 23rd, so right before Christmas, it might be good. And again, lean on friends if you need companionship, but let's look at what's been going on and let's see what's bothering you. Really dig deep and see what's bothering you, because these events, are, it's a lot of energy, and not all of it is pleasant, but you can use it to a good end. There's definitely there's a solution that can come from looking at what's going on and using that to your advantage. Okay, guys, so that was deck number 2. So let's go ahead. Can you see? All right, so let's get in. Oops, sorry. Let's get into deck number 3. Deck number 3, what is our week? Deck number 3, what is deck number 3? 14th through the 21st. Okay, that was kind of flipping. Ooh, deck number 3. Oh, wow, guys, good lordy. Please clarify the Wheel of Fortune. Please clarify. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Hangman and Knight of Swords, or Knight of Wands. Please advice for deck number 3. Advice for deck number 3, please. Is he okay? Advice for deck number 3. That was flipping. Ooh. Gosh, guys, I feel like everyone's having kind of a crazy holiday season. I know how, the holidays is normally a very positive sign, very positive time of year. Thank you. The only advantage, the only thing is, it does bring people together. Sometimes when you get people together, there's inevitably drama. All right, guys. Wow. You got some powerful cards. You got court cards and you've got a lot of major arcana. Now, what's happening is by the beginning of the week, you got the King of Wands, and I really love the King of Wands in this deck. I call him Aslan. I always think of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But so by the beginning of the week, you have a very powerful start to the week. I feel like you're in the King of Wands energy, and again, you can be a female who's watching this reading. Now, the King of Wands is a very dynamic character. It just means that you're being very charismatic, you're being very strong, you're kind of coming across as that masculine leader. The King of Wands is always very warm, and again, I think of Aslan. I just think of that warm lion, and it's funny in those books, they go up and they hug the lion, and I just always think about how soft his mane is. But I think at the beginning of the week, you're going to be showing a real warm and dynamic side. I think you're really leading. And again, I just get this feeling as if you've got probably projects either going on at work or at home. Well, feels like more like at work. I'm really getting a work vibe. That you're kind of spearheading. You're really, people follow you and you're making administrative decisions. The other thing about Leos or Lions is that they are excellent leaders. They are just, where they go, you follow. And I really am getting like this is your energy. So I think at the beginning of the week, you're really making great strides. And the other thing is that I get this feeling like you're very admired. People want to follow you. They see you as a good leader. They see you as a honorable person. And I do think that you're doing things in a very warm and leadership way. And again, I feel like people want to follow you because you're a good example and you're a strong leader. Now, by the beginning of the week, by the middle of the week, you've got some interesting energies, and there are no bad cards in tarot. Don't be afraid by any cards that you see, but you got Death and you got Emperor. And the fact that I'm seeing is death is transformation. That's all that that is. And actually, when you look at it, it's the symbol of water. And in the center, you see all these pastel colors. But what it is that I have a feeling that there is definitely some kind of transformation that's occurring that's really putting you into, it's almost like you're going from King of Wands to Emperor. Either that, or there's some kind of transformation that's going on, and it involves a masculine figure. It can be a family member, it can be a father, it can be a grandfather, but it's someone that you hold in great high esteem. It's someone who's very strong and prevalent in your life. And what I have the feeling is that I have a feeling that by the middle of the week, there's some kind of transformation going. There's some kind of new energy that's going on. Now, the other thing about the Emperor is the Emperor can be, and again, just like death can mean like a literal letting go of something, it can be the releasing of a certain energy. I really get the feeling as if the other thing about the Emperor is that he's definitely in control. The King of Wands is a very dynamic character, but the Emperor is, if he were in reverse, he'd be kind of a control freak. But in the upright, it's a natural control, but it's a very patriarchal energy. This is the King of Kings. This is the ruler of rulers. And what it is no one crosses this person, right? So I have a feeling like there's some kind of transformation, or there's some kind of release that's going of some kind of control in your life, or some kind of relationship that involves a patriarchal figure, someone who's very influential and has a lot of control in your life. And so there's a dynamic that's changing between you and this person. I am getting kind of a vibe like this is two people. You are the King of Wands, but there's some kind of relationship, and this could be a boss, it could be a father, grandfather, could be an uncle. It just someone who really has a lot of influence on your life, and your dynamic or your relationship is changing. And I'm really going to feel like there's going to be some kind of event or some kind of interaction, or just even just some kind of feeling in the middle of the week that's really highlighting this. I have a feeling that maybe if you've been making a lot of changes in your life, what you're doing is you're really trying to transform into this Emperor essence, but I'm really getting the feeling like it's two people. I think by the middle of the week, there's going to be some kind of shift in the power between these two people, the King of Wands and the Emperor. And this is definitely a patriarchal. It's like a very strong father figure, and there's some kind of shift going on. It's like a shift of power. I'm feeling like shift of power. Wow, this is really intense energy, guys. Pile 3 is always really strong. I'm sorry, I know I've said that in other videos. You guys are really strong. I don't know if you read cards or if you do some other New Age activity, but I always get such powerful energy off your deck. Now, the third, by the end of the week, got the Wheel of Fortune. And oh my gosh, deck 1 got Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune's been showing up a lot. We did just How to Tarot this last Tuesday on Wheel of Fortune. Please feel free to check that out if you'd like, because it does give a lot of description. It helps with an understanding of the card. But the Wheel of Fortune is the turn of fate. It's the universe kind of shifting. It's the turn of time. It's kind of fate and destiny, but I don't want you to freak out and feel like you have no free will. You always have free will. Nothing can happen to you that you don't consent to. But what it's saying is that by the beginning of the week, you really are kind of standing strong in your own energy. You've kind of built yourself up to be this King of Wands. And by the middle of the week, you're making some kind of change. and you're doing some kind of transformation, and that transformation involves some kind of father figure, some kind of patriarch that's in your life. Now, whether or not you're disconnecting from them or whether or not you're aligning with them, unfortunately, I can't really tell, but I definitely feel like this person has a great influence on you, and there's some kind of transformation of your relationship with this person, and it's going to be a very, very noticeable power shift. It's going to be a shift of power. It's like a paradigm shift. And then the next card that you see is, by the end of the week, it's the Wheel of Fortune. It's fortune turning. It's fortune turning. Now, what tells me that this might be a dissolution, it's a dissolving of relationship, is that you got the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is the person who's walking away for their own reasons. It's a little bit of an abandonment card, but you can see this person is very determined. He has a little bit of a smug look on his face, and it's kind of known as the Sneaky Pete card. It's not to scare anyone. It's not like that, but I just have this feeling like, I'm getting the strong vibe as if you've built up some kind of persona. You're feeling very courageous lately. You're feeling brave. You're feeling brave. And this is the other thing about lions is that they know themselves. They know who they are. There's no question of who they are. And I think, God, look at his expression. That's you. And look how soft his eyes is. He's not hard, but he is like, I am. This is who I am. I think over the last few months, I think you've really come into your own. You've decided who you are. And I think you're going to be kind of casting off any ties to anyone who's trying to control you. And the Emperor's a good character, but he is controlling. He has a hold on kings. He has a hold on kings. And I just have this feeling like this dynamic, your relationship with this Emperor, is going to change. And it's because you're coming into your own power. It's because you're taking your own ownership back now. And the universe is almost turning you in that direction. The universe is saying that this is going to be a lucky turn of fate. It's almost saying that this was destined to happen. You were destined to grow to this strength, and you were destined to become your own person, and you were destined to cast off any ties to anyone who was telling you what to do. But the only problem is it's not good or bad. There's no judgment assigned here, but someone is going to feel like that it's sneaking away. Someone's going to feel like, whether it's this Emperor feeling like the King of Wands is up and leaving, or whether or not the Emperor, I really do feel like just someone's going to feel like they're being clandestine and not on the level. They're going to feel like you just want to get away. You no longer want to deal with it. But the thing is, when I look at the Seven of Swords, I never think a King of Wands energy, because the other thing about the King of Wands is that if he's going to do something, he'll tell you to your face. That's one thing about Wands. That's the thing about Wands. It's the thing about Emperors too. The other thing is Emperors don't even need to say it to your face. They'll let you, you come into their court, you curtsy to them, and then you explain. That's how Emperors operate. But the King of Wands, he would shoulders back, walk into the room and be like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. It's not in my integrity. Sorry, bye. They're not going to sneak away. So the Seven of Swords energy is concerning me a little bit. It really does seem like there's something clandestine, because the other thing you see is that the thing about the people who are fighting a fight, and you see this person taking the armor, and he almost looks like a pirate, right? He's walking away. So I wonder that something really just came to me, and I have to read it the way I read it, but it's almost as if this is some kind of, it feels like a business environment, but it's almost like the business environment, it's almost like everyone's enthralled in something, there's some kind of, business, there's some big business going on, and all of these higher ups, all these generals, all these kings and emperors are out in the middle of the fight, and then you're just like, okay, let me take the boons of this while they're distracted. Let me go ahead and take these weapons and just sneak off. They won't even notice. They won't notice, but this will benefit me. And that is the energy of the Seven of Swords. I'm not saying that that's you, but this might be your situation where you might have somebody in this environment. Like, you might be the King of Wands. You might be, while you're dealing with the Emperor, and while all of this chaos is going on, you might feel like someone's sneaking away. I don't know who this third person is. I don't think it's either of these characters, because that's really not in their nature. All right, here, let's clarify. Sorry, I'm curious. I need to know. Please clarify the Seven of Swords. Who is the Seven of Swords, please? Who is the Seven of Swords? Please clarify. Please clarify. Holy Toledo. That's what I love about tarot, guys. You got the Tower and you get the Eight of Cups. Got it. So this, again, I don't think anybody's doing this to be malicious, but some kind of sudden event. And look, guys, there's smoke. It's like the lightning struck, and then there's smoke and chaos. And this person's walking away, and there's smoke behind him too. And there's a letter there. You know what? If I had to call it, this is a business environment. You were promised promotions, and you stepped up. You did the job. Maybe there was someone like a CEO ahead of you. You did your job, and then some kind of sudden event happened, and this tower that you were building started to crumble. And look at that letter at his feet. It's almost like he got some kind of letter like, okay, thanks for doing that job. We don't need you anymore. And then you had to pack up your stuff and go. So again, I'm glad we got the clarifiers, because that's kind of crappy. If this is a situation like, maybe again, the death of a relationship, maybe you really did the work and you got to the end of the job and you got shortchanged or something. But the Wheel of Fortune, that's a positive card. What that's telling me is that maybe you were meant to go through that, not in a bad way, but maybe this experience, is going to set you off in the direction that you're meant to go. It is a turn. The wheel is always lucky, guys. The wheel is always fortune. And it might feel bad. It might make you feel like you're, like you're being dishonest and walking away. But again, these are both walking away cards. I mean, this one is definitely a little bit of the sneaky Pete one, but the Eight of Cups, the Eight of Cups is walking away from emotional investment. So you cared about this. You cared about this situation. You had your emotions invested in it. So again, I'm not sure if this, I don't think this is a third person, but it's one of you, and I really want to feel like, I'm really feeling like it's the King of Wands. I feel like something sudden happened, and all of a sudden you got some kind of letter that said, hey, gave you some news, and it changed your dynamic. It's like, okay, I put all this work into it. Now, please don't take this as permanent bad news. Sometimes it might be changes at work that you're just getting notified of. It doesn't mean, because normally when big changes occur, you always get scared, right? You always feel like your foundation's crumbling. But, maybe it is kind of saying that you should stick it out, or at least review the situation and make sure that it's not as bad as you think it is before you do anything sudden. But this action, I can just say, this action has definitely affected the relationship between the King of Wands and this Emperor, but it is divinely guided. It is something that the universe needed you to go through, because it's going to shoot you off in the direction that you're meant to be. So it is a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Now, this could be family dynamics. That's entirely possible, just to go off on that tangent. But now the two cards you got is, you got Whip which is conflict and irritation at home. And then what I saw is you got house, happiness, prosperity, and security. So guys, gosh, this could be a home situation. This could be a home situation. I don't know if there's some kind of living situation. And again, you could be dealing with a female. You might be dealing with, you could be a female woman that's coming in through as the King of Wands. The Emperor just could also be female. It just means that someone who's really in their masculine energy, someone who's in control. But the fact that we got the Tower and it says whip, conflict. Whip is repeated irritation. Whip is kind of that, it's almost like repeated abuse. It's almost like when you go home, when you dread going home every day because you have a spouse who's just henpecking you to death. Or it could be some kind of living situation where you both have stakes in something, but it seems like someone's always undermining the other person, or some kind of dramatic event is occurring that's making your security, making the fact that you have a house make you feel like, gosh, like you're being abused, right? So, I mean, really, the Tower is kind of making me see that too. Now, but your advice, and again, the one thing with the whip is I'm trying to read this as advice. It's almost more of a clarifier, but again, if you feel like you need to walk away from something, if something is ever coming across an abusive way or not giving you what you've earned, by all means, do what you think is right. Do what you think is right. You should never have to put up with any repetitive manipulation or abuse. And, and I definitely think it, and especially if you're coming through the King of Wands energy, you'll know what to do. You'll know what to do. Look at that face that you guys are, and honestly, you'll do it with integrity. So if you do have to walk away, I imagine that you have good reason for that. Now, the other cards you got Child, which is beginnings. And I think this is beautiful. Now, it can pertain to a real child. It can pertain to a child, but all of the cards around the child are very positive. So I do not think that this new beginning or this child is involved in anything that I'm seeing here. But the other cards that you got, and these are kind of advice cards, is you got Heart, which is love, bliss, affection, fulfillment, kindness, forgiveness. And I really love that image. And then you also got Birds, communicate, negotiate, chatter, debate, discuss, nervous. So here I'm definitely feeling as if I'm getting the feeling like, and again, the advice is very romantic. You've got all these men and battle and sudden events, and you've got all this action that seems to be related to security throughout your week. But your advice is definitely, I think what it's telling you to do is, especially towards the end of the week, as you see the Wheel of Fortune turn, as you're kind of seeing the higher purpose of all of this that's going on. I think it's telling you to try to be creative, and that's one thing that's with the King of Wands, is that they are creative. They're very, they're a mature king, but they have the element of creativity in them, because wands they're very dynamic that way. I think it's telling you that if you do have to experience some endings, or if you're experiencing a lot of a conflict that just feels really repetitive and kind of abusive, try to escape from that. Try to walk away from that when you can, and do something new. Do something that really feeds your spirit. That's the other thing, is that wands are spirit. Do something that feeds your spirit. Now, I definitely feel like it might be encouraging you to connect to those people you love, and that can be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a spouse. And it's saying here, communicate. Now, the one thing about the birds and the fact that I love this is that sometimes if you look at these two birds, the one bird looks like he's kind of nervous, like he's almost a little anxiety prone. And it does talk about that. It says flighty, nervous. I think what it might be saying is that you've got all this going on and it's almost like it's under the surface. It's almost like you have to keep all of this hidden. And if you've got all this going on, you don't have to share your business with anyone. It's not saying that, but it is kind of saying try to open up enough just to let a little bit of love in, because you need some love right now. You need some love. This person walking away, you don't have to be an island, right? And especially if you've had some seriously kind of jarring stuff going on, try to open up that heart a little bit. Again, you don't have to spill your guts to anyone, and I know it seems like you'll be kind of nervous about it. You'll be kind of, keeping quiet. But if you feel open to it, try to talk to someone, try to let someone in, whether that be a friend or, here I'm kind of getting more of a romantic vibe. So, I think that might be a good distraction. And that is one thing with the King of Wands too, is that they are very big-hearted. They are romantic in that way. Not as emotional as the King of Cups, but they're very, maybe do something physical. That's always a good thing to do when you are very mentally and emotionally stressed, is to kind of exercise your body, because the Wands rules physical activity. But here I'm definitely seeing that the advice is, it's also talking about a beginning. So it could mean that it might be encouraging you to talk to someone new. If you've had your eye on someone that you think you might have a good relationship with, maybe start talking to them. Or it can mean someone from the past. I'm not really getting a real rekindling vibe, but all it means is it just means let someone in. Don't be an island with all of this. You don't have to tell anybody that this is going on, but you might want to open up a little bit. Maybe just talk about the weather. Well, not even talk about the weather. Talk about subjects that interest you. Talk about hobbies, maybe with a girlfriend or someone that you would like to be your girlfriend or boyfriend. And just kind of share that so you can alleviate some of the pressures that you have going on. And definitely, try to take care of yourself. I feel like everyone's having a very eventful week. I don't know if it's just the holidays or what. Kind of makes this crazy. All right, guys. So that is our week. That was definitely event-filled. Goodness, all three piles really had a lot going on. Well, again, I want to thank you for joining me. I definitely have a lot of, I have other videos that I post in addition to the weekly energies. So again, if you don't feel like any of these, of this reading pertain to you, maybe check again next week, or possibly look at some of the other videos that I've posted. It doesn't have to be the exact date it doesn't have to be the week in question in order for you to watch it. If you're drawn to the decks that are displayed, there might be a message in that reading for you. Also, later this week, I have a really fun-filled week coming up. Starting on Monday, I have a special post on Monday. Please stay tuned. It's going to be a relationship reading, and I had such a good time. It's a really fun reading. So if you want an escape from all of this energy and you want to watch a fun romance reading, check it out on Monday, and I'll tell you what the theme is. It's my favorite author's birthday, and we're going to be doing a themed reading based on that. Then Tuesday we have the How to Tarot for Justice, and then on Thursday, we have another special post, and I'll tell you on the day. And then on Friday, I have my Dungeons and Dragons D20 reading. And then Saturday is our weekly energy reading again. So we have a whole week. I'm a busy bee, so a whole week. So definitely please check back by then. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.